Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another Power Up podcast, the Friday Frenzy edition. And with us tonight is my good friend Joe, who said, "Sure, I'll hop on. Why not?" He said.
Why not? Yes. Why not indeed?
Why not? Let's do it. We're back. We're ready to roll. Some people who have maybe have catched my game streaming may have known the problems I've been running into this weekend. But how was your weekend, Joe? Don't let my saltiness affect anybody.
Well, I mean, it's been like the weather's starting to turn a touch spring
Mm.
early, and like
Yeah,
it's
we
just
were
been
at.
like allergy city the last like two
Mm.
days. It's just been pure shit. So like it hasn't been too terrible. It's just like the kids' noses are running, mine are is
Mm.
running, our eyes are all itchy. So it's just keeping everyone in check and happy and stuck indoors once again because we go right from snow to rain in these parts.
Oh, sometimes even skip the rain. I know in Illinois there was like a weird, like they didn't even have a summer at some point. Like it was like crappy fall weather throughout the entire time.
Yeah.
Like a week of summer and then back to winter at times. But luckily, I'm in Dallas. We actually had a really bad tornado like warning watch weather yesterday night. It was pretty funny because I didn't even know
Yeah, we,
about it. I was too busy worrying about my car and stuff like that till once everything
we
got
got hit with some
situated.
80-mile-per-hour winds today here in Ohio, the Ohio
Oh, you did?
Valley.
Yeah, we had
I got
70
got a
last
little
night.
wild.
Yeah, actually, you could probably see. I had a blackout curtain that I just
Yeah,
you can barely see like the edge, like right there. Like I threw it up there just in case if for some reason like a rock decides to go through the window or something like that. Luckily, like where our apartment is situated, we're on the first floor, which is actually really good for tornado weather. But
yeah. You
like
guys got like the safe level.
yeah, we got the safe level, and there's like another apartment like right across from that window. So if it's coming like that let's see that west to east direction, it'll block a lot of it. But you know who don't want to risk. I'm just like, if something breaks or something, I want something to cover up the window that I can at least like hold down or something until it passes
Yeah.
or something. Even though you're not supposed to be near windows, but you know you know we're both from the Midwest, like central area. So for us, it's like
Tornadoes are essentially entertainment for us.
yeah,
Like,
we'll be
yeah,
standing outside. Just be like, oh man, that looks like pretty bad weather coming, right? Yep. Hmm.
pretty much. Yeah, like everyone just goes out on the porch. Like that's what's so funny about like the Midwest is when you hear like tornado sirens or tornado warning,
hmm
nobody goes to the basement. Nobody takes cover. We all go out on the porch and look around and we go, "Where is it? The sky's all yellow. Where's this tornado at?
Where's
I'm
this
bored."
tornado at?
Yeah, bring it on, nature. You bitch.
You bitch indeed. Well, while we're at it, let's bring up death here. Let's see. I've been kind of up to date on what's happening a little bit. Let's see. Let's see how we're doing now. Did we break it? Did we break that? Oh, we're so close. So close to
Yeah,
that 82K.
right on the cusp.
Right on the cusp of the balls. That is death.
Yeah, dude. It's like one or two backers could send it right over. So
Dude, yeah, absolutely. But
I've
yeah,
really
just
got to get out there more though. Like I've been like not good about showing up to shows like outside of
no.
this one. So like it's I really got to like get on the push again. It's just so hard to like.
You have all of these invites of popular, more prominent and well-known figures, and you decide to come on my show. I appreciate it.
No problem at all, dude. It's I mean, don't get me wrong. All shows are fun, but some shows are more fun when you're not competing with like eight other people on a panel. So it's
No, I hear you.
I don't well that and it's like I'll go in and I'll try to wait till the end or something to bring my book up. I don't want like everyone thinking that's the only reason I show up to their shows, because I have no problem at all not bringing it up whatsoever if they
Mm-hmm.
would prefer. But
Eh,
yeah, it's a good
well,
time though. I love doing shows in general. It's just like, man, it's just a lot of stuff to keep up on in a day.
mm. Oh
And when
yeah.
people are like 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 hours, it's like, dude, that's a whole work shift.
Hey
Like, I
man, if it brings in the dough, why not? I mean,
yeah,
but
yeah,
understandable too. Some people like it's really hard to actually talk that long too. Like Nick amazes me on how he can do those long ass like 2 long ass streams without his throat just being destroyed. Because
yeah, dude,
you gotta keep
it's a talent.
that lubricated. But yeah,
He
guys.
definitely lubricated.
Oh, oh. Well, yeah, death. We're close to 82K. So if anyone just feels interested in it, check it out, man. Help help it out. We've got beautiful artwork by Joe here. We got you got your sweet color if you want to pick it up in color. We also got let me get my art term right. Monochrome, if I'm not mistaken. No, not monochrome. What's black and white? It is mono, right?
I guess I just call it black and white. I
Oh,
don't I
okay.
don't know if there's some like printing terminology that's different, but yeah, just black and
Oh,
white.
okay. Here I am trying
But
to be fancy. But
or you can say like line art if you
yeah,
want to get comic books with it.
you got your highly detailed line art. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that eyeball as he's looking over and thuddy thud thud. But yeah, different tiers. Just yeah, we've got I love this picture too. Just so dope.
Right.
That I love the outfit too. That horn outfit and
I like themed like night characters in a
mm-hmm.
way. So like when
Yeah,
I'm coming up with armor stuff, I try to think of things like a bull or
mm-hmm.
a ram or just something with horns, because you can do a lot with that. Or I'll even go like the bug route and look at like strange bugs and stuff like that. Kind of base like armor off of an actual
It's cool
critter.
because you like kind of like to me it's like a mashup of like what you were talking about in like samurai as well. Sort of you got your samurai, your medieval, and yet your like mobile suit Gundam, like mecha sort of stuff happening. Like
Yeah,
all
well,
that.
it's very much a universe where like I guess you could say like supernatural and technology and all that stuff exist on the same level. Like one's not unusual to the other. Like these characters aren't shocked by like supernatural things because they've been around it their whole lives. But they're also not shocked by tech once that becomes
Mhm.
normalized within the universe. So
I
it's
think that's what I like about it too is like you have a really good like combination of the two. I love the supernatural element combined with tech because I think that's something you kind of don't see a whole lot. That's like common. It's like either one or the other sort of thing. And I like seeing like the
and I
combination.
and I even get why people go kind of one or the other, because like if you do it wrong, it can be
Hmm.
really, really bad, but if you do it right, it can be really awesome. So
Yeah.
it's just a risk factor of if you want to take that risk. I personally do because it's all the kind of stuff I like, so I know how to make it work. But
Oh yeah.
I get why some people might shy away from it. I've even had people tell me like, "How are you going to mix all this stuff up together?" I'm like, it's not as big a brain teaser as it seems like. It's just
Hmm.
it's two worlds where one's just not foreign to the other. Neither side's shocked that the other has supernatural or tech. It's not that difficult. He-Man did it in the '80s, and that show was for dumb little kids. It was a huge success. Had guys with laser guns and axes, and they all lived in castles, but they had tanks. I mean, it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely 100% I think can capture that like really well if not like know exactly how to per se because like you said you've always enjoyed that sort of thing so you've and I know you've done your research on like supernatural and I'm sure tech in general sort of thing too. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think you
My
did
tech.
like an excellent job combining it together. Like I can't wait to read it. I'm super stoked to read it.
Oh, thank you very much, dude. I
I've
hope
been
that everyone enjoys it as much as like I hope that it's a they think it's as good as I feel it is. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
I can see the story and understand the flow of it, and I feel like I'm doing a good job of presenting it to people once they get it in their hands. You know, in a way where it won't really be as brain teasy as it looks like.
Mhm.
Like it'll be a little weird and a little strange, but I feel like the basic story is pretty solid and it's pretty easy to comprehend. You know, it's I the themes aren't like super deep. It's family and war and bad times making strong people. You know, it's very simple. It's not
Mhm.
like super brain teasy. It's just there's a lot of characters involved in all of that. They're not all main characters. You don't see them all constantly, but you know, there's no shortage of
What? No.
characters in this story to kind of lead you along the path. And it's like Berserk was really good with like you never had a throwaway character. Like maybe
Mhm.
you saw this character in the first book and forgot about him, and then 30 years later in real time, Kento would work him back into the story. And it made sense. Like it was weird. It was like so good you couldn't tell if he planned it that way or if he was just looking backwards through his stuff and was like, "Hey, there's someone I never went back and did anything with." Because he was that good at storytelling, where it was like, "Good lord, did he plan this 30 years in advance for this character to come back
No, that's
right here?"
good. You bring up an excellent point because I think a lot of anime and manga, I think a lot of creators actually write themselves into a corner with that sort of thing. Um,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like you talk about it, and I instantly thought of Attack on Titan, because I stopped caring about Attack on Titan, kind of in because when let's see, I think I only watched season one, and then I went and I know the manga was going further, so I read the manga more, and I got up to where like this big secret in Jaeger's father's basement that he kept locked away. Once I got there, well, one, I thought the big reveal at the end was kind of lame. Um, or it was something that was kind of like a cop out sort of thing in my book. So I just stopped. But man, I could not tell you how many times reading the manga I got so confused on how many damn sub stories there were of characters that I don't even know. And some of them look identical to each other. And I'm just like, who
yeah.
the hell is this?
Mm.
Like, I have no idea who this is. And not to mention, like, the art style, I wasn't a big fan of. It's a lot better in the anime, but oh boy, reading the manga, like, just confused the shit out of me.
Attack on Titan definitely suffers from that. It's and it's unfortunate because I think a lot of people found it through that first season. And that
Yeah.
first season was so good and laid such good groundwork for future stories, teaser ideas, mystery, who's doing this, who's doing that, and it all felt like it was going to come together cool. And then
Mhm.
you got through season 2 and it was like it's not terrible, but it's something's not the same. And like season 3 was just a trash heap. And the comics were not like they filled in a little bit, but yeah, you have all these characters that look the same, and I know that's like a an anime manga trope, but when we say look the same, we mean like literally look the same. Like there wasn't any identifiable Japanese tropes to pick some of them apart.
But
And
it was so
when and
confusing.
well, and the stuff was like as much as I love Attack on Titan, because it did have an influence on me, like I really do appreciate a ton of things about it. So I don't want to sound like I'm poo-pooing something that at one time in my life I thought was incredibly awesome.
Mhm.
But when every big reveal is someone else is a Titan, it's like you can't keep using that. That someone else is secretly a Titan. You can't keep having these stories get drug out to a point where like
Mhm.
they get they get super confusing and you're trying to do Game of Thrones level like politics within the story that have this big build up and then the build up leads to like something generic that's just not satisfying or even makes sense in some cases.
Yeah.
So like I I I love Attack on Titan in a lot of ways. I really do. I think it's one of the most original, cool anime there ever was, and the manga shined in its own way, despite looking like it was a dude just drawing with a ballpoint pen and scratching everywhere. It left a little to be desired, but I get it. It's the manga. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, it suffered from that. It suffered from too much time between a first season and a second season. Tons of manga to read ahead on, and it was close enough to the manga that it was easy to know what was coming next. You're like, oh, they're sticking to this manga pretty close, so I can get ahead real quick. And
Hmm. I
I don't
think
know.
that's something unique though that I almost think it's kind of an ability in a weird way because I think it's kind of like when I think of when I have I have this weird ability, and maybe it's just of just not caring what certain people tell me per se. Of like if someone spoils something for me, or like lets something slip that's a spoiler, I can somehow get an actual genuine like first time response from seeing it when getting up to that point of being spoiled and still have that response like I saw it without knowing of it being spoiled. Like I'm able to separate it still.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's really weird, and I don't know if it's just me. Maybe that the people who've spoiled stuff for me, I don't care about their opinion or something. I don't think so, but like it's that weird ability of like if you have that ability, I think you can still kind of enjoy seeing it, or at least when it comes to like, okay, I know this has happened in the manga, this part's coming up, but I'm super looking forward to seeing how they animated it because a lot of times, they got to fill in like how it gets to that point with animation and stuff like that. And
uh-huh.
sometimes
Yeah,
they can deliver it really well, and then other times cannot be so well or something like that.
yeah.
Oh, I
I
sent
mean,
you a.
I'm a mix like that. There are some
Mhm,
things where like I'm not so invested in it where it bothers me. I
mhm,
think the only time it sucks is like if there's a New Japan like wrestling pay per view I want to watch,
mhm,
and because their stuff's live at like 6 and 7 and 8 a.m. our time, even though
mm,
it's like the afternoon evening over there. Like I have to avoid socials for that stuff because it'll show actual like clips from the matches or the finisher to the match where it's like I can live with knowing who wins it. I can probably guess who wins 90% of this pretty accurately just based on how wrestling works as an entertainment. But
wrestling.
it was like I don't want to see how it ends because it is still like you don't New Japan's one of those few places where you're still not quite sure what you're going to get. Like WWF, you can literally you can call the wins and losses really easy with almost every match year after year. There's not a
Oh,
lot of
mhm.
mystery, but like in New Japan, you could have a champ that's been on top for years and think like, oh, there's no way they're going to let this guy take him off the throne. And then they'll throw you a curveball every once in a while and shock you, and you'll see a shock win or something you didn't expect, especially during like their tournaments. And their tournaments are great just because of shock wins. It's the only reason people watch them is because it's like, oh, this is a chance to see like the world champ versus some mid carder that's been stuck in mid card purgatory for you know 8 years
Yeah,
come out and pull off a shock win or something. So
nice.
most
Oh man,
cases it doesn't bother me, but yeah, that's I have a
mhm.
few rarities that I'm like, man, just don't fuck it up for me, internet.
Absolutely. Yeah, oh man, WWE went downhill when it became WWE because we got to include the kids. And that mean because I will argue that WWF, Raw, and Attitude era were the best eras, and they always will be because it was amazing. I love it.
They were very exciting and fun. It's like a product that was like very kid centric, and then that started failing, and they got with the times in the '90s eventually, and
Yeah,
said we're going to do the polar opposite and be as offensive and terrible as humanly possible. And my God, it made it probably one of the most popular programs in the country for a good
oh
like 3 years.
man, they should have kept it. Is Indiegogo still shadow banning that
Yeah,
program?
I've actually seen a few other creators that just got hit with it recently.
Boo, boo. But with that being said, Joe has asked me to actually help with a King Toad Incorporated website. So
Yes.
keep an eye out for that, folks, because soon products from King Toad Incorporated will be on a website. And really excited to be working on that. So always
Yes.
appreciate you,
Greg,
Joe, for
Greg
giving me
is
these
getting us our
opportunities.
own. Yep. Well, you're a big part of getting this, getting our own platform built up, so
Mm-hmm.
that in time here, as we can get the word out more and have the
Absolutely.
ability to let more people know we exist. We'll have a good,
Absolutely.
solid website where I know what you're doing and how to keep it up to date and looking fresh and minty clean as the times adjust and change. And it's really exciting to finally have that part of it just knocked out. Well, almost. We're still working on it, but you know what I mean. We're getting it done,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh yeah.
it'll be good to have a place where people aren't at the will of Indiegogo if they want to just go buy back issues or reprints, or even eventually we would like to not even have to do campaigns. At some
Yeah.
like there are like tax advantages and stuff to doing it, but eventually most people would rather not have to keep going through a third party that's taking a lot of money from you in the
Mm-hmm.
process. I mean, a couple grand of that's already went to Indiegogo. So, it,
Ugh. Sorry.
that's the thing is they're sucking a percentage of everything you make. And
Yep.
it's like I already got credit card processors and everyone. Like basically the guy that runs or owns something is the last one to get paid. And I know people think like because they see CEOs and these people making these exuberant salaries, it's like, yeah, those are companies that have been established for like 100 years and have
Yeah.
huge financial backing. Like that's not something that um despite us being incorporated, like we don't have those advantages. We're always the last people in the process to get paid. Everyone gets their cut, the state, the feds, the local, the fucking, we got to make sure the employees get paid, obviously, because that's just how this works. And it gets to a point where it's like, damn, we gotta set this up so eventually it can be self-sufficient, not be so reliant on crowdfunding. But that's
Absolutely.
the only way we can get investors in this world.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Netflix ain't running to Joe Ball to give me $1 zillion for a Death cartoon yet.
Yeah.
But
Oh, we'll make it work. Even if we have to break some knees, we'll do it. We'll do whatever it takes.
listen here, Netflix, man. start,
Man,
start
see, man.
breaking these talking like 1920s gangsters.
Yes, yes, Chaos Smash. It did go through. He said, "Hey, it's my favorite fags." I hope this message gets through, and he had to space out fags with periods. But yes,
Look,
it did.
Chaos knows how to flatter us. He knows how to speak our language and just make us feel pretty. So you did it, Chaos.
Dude, speaking of fags, yeah, Google AdSense and YouTube can go fuck off. Uh, so I've complained a little bit about this on like my game streaming, but dude, I am like I do not understand why YouTube slash Google like treats content creators like fucking retards. I speak the language of the elders. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Chaos Smash.
you sure
Yeah,
do.
man. I have been. Oh gosh. So get this, Joe. So I'm trying to take my content to the next level in the sense of being serious about it. What changes can I do to prepare to just just to see if I can get this like going more and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So one of the things I decided, I said, okay, my YouTube is connected to my personal email account. Um, and anyone can find it like gmarima@gmail.com. So I go, okay, you know what? I also have powercatgreg@gmail.com as well. I want that to strictly be my business slash content creation account. So I'm trying to separate the two. So with YouTube, you can connect your AdSense account to another account. So I create a new account and I try to connect it. Declined. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is it declined? And for this past week, just not getting a fucking solid answer in the loop around too. Because get this. So AdSense doesn't tell you like the actual process of what you want to do. So if you go into Google and like go into like your earnings and stuff like that, there's an area where you can say like, hey, I want to link to a new AdSense account. So took my email that I want to be my business email, turned it in, like turned all the AdSense on, like did all that and submitted it to get it linked. And when you do that, you have to set it up. Like if you try to do it through YouTube, like it pretty much doesn't tell you what you're supposed to do. Like, and if anything, you just assume that you need to you need to set up AdSense for that account, right? Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
No. AdSense has a policy where you can't have duplicate accounts. And so they reject my AdSense submission for my business email while I'm trying to reconnect it to YouTube. YouTube, on their gay ass end, declares, oh, we noticed that this AdSense account got rejected. Yeah, there's a 32 day wait period if you want to reconnect it back to a working AdSense account.
That's kind of ridiculous. A whole month.
It is, dude, and it fucking pisses me off because I have like resubmitted my other account like many times. But here's the kicker: is when AdSense sends you an email saying that your account was rejected, it states in the email that their policy does not allow them or allows them to not tell you why it was rejected. It just was. You have to fucking figure it out yourself. Meaning you have to go through all their retarded policies and stuff like that. And if you go into the YouTube chat support and try to ask them, they'll be like, oh, we can't give you that information. And you go, fucking why? And they go, security reasons. And I'm like, motherfuckers, I can fucking contact my parents' internet Verizon or internet like Comcast account and pretend to be them as long as I can verify their information. And like I don't even do that. I'm just like, hey, I'm the son, and because my parents are boomers, they don't know what they're doing. I'm the son, and they don't even give a shit. You're just like, okay, what's the account number? I'm like, it's this. Okay, let's do this. These fuckers won't even tell you what the problem is to fix it. Like they purposely treat you like fucking retards. And dude, I have been going scorched earth on the YouTube chat support. And I'll just say for the record, I'm not apologizing to how I act on the chat support because as far as I'm fucking concerned, all you assholes are doing are just sitting there. And when someone bitches at you, you just copy and paste your stock response and just paste it in the thing. Only when I get snippy is when you'll actually like engage with me. So this is the one thing where I'm not so Christian about. Like any sort of chat support for like internet, phone, Google, whatnot. Sorry, not sorry. I'm going to be a fucking asshole to you guys. Because in the end, you want to know what they do, Joe? They just tell you like, well, you can call to get that fixed. We can't actually do that on our end. It's like, well, why even have a fucking chat support? The chat support's automated. And when you call them, you get fucking automated shit. You have to say like, no, speak to an agent. Like over and over and over until it's like, oh, you want to speak to someone? It's like, fucking yes, I do. Not really, but yes. Oh my gosh. Oh. By the way, my AdSense got rejected again. And I actually, before the show, just got off the support bitching at them again. It was pretty funny. I keep all my, I save all the chat conversation. Because
they don't care because it's not like, I think the catch is too, like a utility company or internet service, like those people are still reliant on like your dollar. And it's to a point where like I can't remember. I think it was like Frontier Internet Service, like this trash internet here in my area. Might be better in some places. Here it's awful, but
I know Frontier, dude. I know Frontier. I'm
but
from the
like
I'm from the Midwest. I know what you're talking about.
there were so many times, like me or Shane or somebody I knew, or like at one of our shops, we would be like, "Look, we've had enough of this. We're just going to switch to Spectrum because it's not great, but it's better than this." And
Hmm.
like Frontier would seriously be like, "Look, we will give you like 6 months of free internet. Please don't leave." And I'd be like, "All right." So I'd hang around for 6 months. About when 6 months had passed and a bill finally showed up, I was like, "Time to call up Frontier again to threaten to leave because this was 6 months of terrible service." Eventually, I just stopped. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
even worth the free stuff.
Hmm.
It's like YouTube. I get it. We're not paying you like a utility company or something, but yeah, there's still money to be made, and you're making money off of us, and vice versa. Like we should all be on the same team here and want this to all roll smoothly and work well, since it's detrimental to everyone's success here either way. But I don't know,
Yeah.
man. It's big tech, dude. They just don't care. If yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert or someone from his show went over and complained, yeah, they'd probably do something. But
Yep.
it's
Well,
definitely, we're the peasants to them. We're
well,
fucking nobody.
here's the funny thing though. Chaos says it's because they only want to focus on those with talk shows and political channels. I got very
Yeah,
close to telling the one person. I'm like, no, but I didn't go that hard. But he says they don't care about anyone else, no matter how many subscribers they have. Yeah, and it's the same thing with Nick. Um, it's because Nick actually has someone that can fucking go in there and go, "What the hell is happening?" sort of thing. That's sadly the only leverage you have. You have to actually know someone that's in there to like get any sort of leeway. I'm making good waves though. But fun. I'll continue this story in a little minute. Chaos Smash says, "Man, babies want to act professional." That's okay. So that's the thing. That's the thing. So the very first chat support I went on, uh, I was livid. Like I was so livid, my autism was like going off the scale, and I was super like spelling a bunch of shit because I was super pissed, like super pissed. And dude, I called them, let's see, I called them bastards. I said this is like fucking bullshit and stuff like that. Dude, I went ham. Did my best not to insult them per se, but if I did like appear to insult them, it's like towards the company. Like I don't, I kind of don't care who you are, but I also know that you're getting paid to literally, if it's not someone that's like spurging out like me, you're just copying and pasting your stock response sort of bullshit. Um,
yeah.
dude went super ham on them, super ham. Them telling me they can't tell me okay. First, they're saying they're just the YouTube chat. Then later on, saying, "Oh, well, I can see you the reason why, but I can't tell you." And I go, "Fucking why?" Security reasons. Security reasons. And I'm like, "Bullshit. Tell me why." And then I kept being that like assertive about it to where the person's like, I think I have the chat saved, but I'm gonna be lazy and not bring it up. But there's like, please continue, like, please respond in a respectable manner. If so, I cannot continue like this conversation with you. And I'm like, you don't deserve respect because you're treating me like a fucking idiot. Like your policy is purposely made vague enough so you don't have to be like accountable for anything. And like literally, like I think I actually do have it. Let me see here. I do have this set up. But the funny thing at the end of that, the very first support conversation I had with them is at the end they threatened to ban me from the YouTube chat support for being abusive.
You smacked our CPU right in the mouth, and we don't like it.
Because here's the thing is they were trying to tell me, well, that's Google AdSense. We're different and stuff like that. But I went on the YouTube chat support again and had someone differently. And and guess what? Like out of the, let's see, I think this is now 4 conversations I had with Google support. Only one of the conversations I actually was like respectful. in the sense and stuff like that, because they told me exactly what I wanted to. So you had 3 people telling me they couldn't tell me why it was my AdSense account was rejected, and this one person going, "Oh yeah, it's because of this."
When we all know that's really all it took in the first place.
Well, that's the
It's like
thing,
it's
is that
not
they're
the
fucking
fun, man.
lying because they
Yeah,
know they can tell me on the end. This most recent one too, like the guy was feigning super ignorance about and like saying like, "Well, you just submitted it, so I don't know what the reason why it would be rejected." I'm like, "Are you and I wish I would have said it, but I didn't. I'm like, "Are you fucking retarded?" I'm like, "I literally got an email today saying that that is rejected. Why?" And he's like, "I'm not sure I understand. Like, I can't tell you why." I'm like, "Bullshit. I literally talked with someone yesterday on support and they told me right away why my account was rejected. Don't fucking lie to me." And oh my gosh, dude, it is insane. Here it is.
I wonder what level of clearance they give some of these people that are working the phones. Because, like, I
I'm
worked at a joint
Yeah,
for a
I'm
while
curious about
where,
that too.
well, we had to do like I don't want to say the name of the company just in case because they're not like a terrible company, but
No,
and
yeah.
I'm not going to say anything bad about them either. But the whole thing is like there was degrees of like clearance for information you had, whereas
Mm.
like because I was part of like a troubleshooting team,
Oh, I get you.
um, I could access like more info than basically anyone else there except the managers. Like could maybe go a level above me. And it was also because it all dealt in financials and stuff and banks and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
it was tough because like the people that ran the phones did not have like they had some access, like they could still like check the notes on the account and kind of get an idea of previous issues or things that had happened before so that they had some context if this person called. And it showed all the updates of any action that happened if we had sent or moved or transferred anything for these people. But like they
Mhm.
couldn't make the calls and they would like the judgment calls and they would get lost sometimes. And if we were just crossing through the room, the other guys I worked with, we'd be hopping on phones occasionally because we could just hop in, sign in through our thing, take care of the issue in 5 minutes, move on with
See,
life. And
that's
it's
the
like
thing is
just
I
give
thought.
your give your tech support, give your support people the ability to get deep enough into the system where they can say, okay, I see why you're having this problem.
Mhm.
Like they've got to have a way to do that. I've worked at companies that aren't nearly as big as YouTube,
Yeah,
like financially, that have that stuff in place, even if they have to pay for their own
mhm.
software solely created for their company to run it and all that.
Well,
So
that's good to hear because I've called out like not just on YouTube and stuff like, but I've called out like the internet providers and stuff like that. I'm like, bullshit. You're sitting. I guarantee you're sitting right next to some fucker who does know how to fucking access it. So don't lie to me. Like literally, like all this can be solved if you just do this. And not to mention the fact that I gave you the information to like prove who I am, sort of thing. But check this
yeah,
out. So this was the application status. So thanks for your interest in AdSense. After reviewing your application, our specialists have found that it does not meet our program criteria. Now, this one came to me at 6:08 p.m. today, and I talked with someone yesterday who told me exactly why it was rejected. Not this time, not from this application status, but from the last time. Literally
yeah,
resolved the problem. They were saying 2 duplicate accounts, which they don't even tell you. Like YouTube doesn't tell you like, "Oh, if you want to link a different account, you have to deactivate the first one." As far as I can recall, they didn't tell you shit. So it just assumes that you have to go through the process. But it makes sense that you want to have a seamless transaction to where it's like, "Okay, I'll create this new AdSense account. I'll go through all the stuff, put all in my information, verify who I am, submit it. Hopefully it'll pass and then just have that sweet transition. Not missing a beat. Nope, fuck you. Like you literally have to demonetize yourself to re-monetize yourself with a different account. It's fucking retarded. Anyway,
and that would probably force you to start all over.
that's the whole point. Here, this is the
Yeah,
kicker. This is the kicker. But first, let's read this. So, our AdSense program policies are designed to ensure the effectiveness of Google Ads for our publishers as well as for our advertisers. We review all publishers and we reserve the right to decline any application. Okay. If you are able to make changes to meet our program criteria, You may be able to reapply. You may reapply for AdSense in the future. Sweet. Cool. What's the problem? Please note that we may not be able to respond to inquiries regarding the specific reasons for our decision. Thank you for understanding. So fucking super vague to where they do not have to give you the reason why it was declined.
Yeah.
So 2 conversations. The very first one where I was spurging out like a retard and swearing up a storm to getting threatened to not be able to use YouTube chat support again. So hang up with that bitch. Can't immediately start up another chat support. Chaos Smash says, "Is that a photo viewer? I see you're a man of support or a man of culture, dude. The Windows ones are fucking garbage. Yeah, if you got guys you can get the the MSI like program of Windows photo viewer, way better than the stock garbage they have now. So start up the second conversation, pretty much get nowhere as well. And then I'm just like, well, fuck you guys. I'm gone, sort of thing. So next day rolls around. Get someone else. Immediately, like, I tell them the situation. They're like, yeah, let me look into this. Looks into it. Says, oh, immediately tells me the reason why. Oh yeah, you have apparently we've noticed that you actually have 2 AdSense accounts. You got to deactivate one. I'm like, thank you. I can do that. That's fine. That's what I've been wanting to do. That's funny. My laptop is MSI. Nice. I think it's called like an MSI file or something like that. It's something that it re-adds like photo viewer back into your Windows thing. Stupid why they got rid of it. Anyway, though. So she tells me exactly what it is. Her name was Precious, by the way. I couldn't help but laugh. I love their stock names. But tell them what's up. I am chatting with her, telling her like, okay, I want to link this account with my YouTube now. And she keeps going back to my working one. You mean this? And then like pub, whatever the numbers are. Was she black? I don't know, man. It was chat support. I was too busy being pissed off to care who
the white liberals at least want you to think the automation's black so that you're forced into submission.
Yes, true. Very true. But so as I'm talking with her, I'm going, okay, this is what I want to do. She's like, okay, well, the account that got rejected, because at one point I'm like, fine, just relink my working one again. She's like, okay, you got to close your current one that's getting rejected. Go to the area to close it. Can't close it. I'm like, and I show her a screenshot. Says I can't close it. I don't know why. She goes, okay, can you close the other one? And I'm like, yeah, I can. Now, here's the thing. Can you guarantee me that when I close this working one, I can technically still reactivate it? But if I can close this one and wait a couple minutes and then resubmit my working one, everything should be fine, right? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and do it. Boom. Get the email today, 6:08 p.m. Your AdSense account is rejected. And so I am pissed. And then I, right before the show, got on support with Daryl or Darrell, however you want to pronounce it. And I'm going scorched earth, like pretty damn, like not super hard as the first one, but pretty scorched earth, like to the point where I'm like, transfer me over to someone who's more competent because you're useless. I got really, really hard on him. Again,
to the point where I keep calling Darnell just to be an asshole. It's like,
Well,
my name is
again,
Daryl. You're like, okay, Darnell. Or
Darnell.
something.
Well, like I said earlier on, yeah, I'm not apologizing. The only thing I will apologize for to anybody at any point in time, if I ever had to do a support chat with anybody, and you get me, sorry, not sorry. Because a lot of times in the end, you're not going to have the ability to do what I know either A, know you can do or just don't want to do, or you're just going to tell me to call, which I could have just called in the beginning, but I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. I just want this done. I know exactly what I need to do. Greg
Yeah,
channeled
it's
this Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise. I wish, dude, I wish I could have gone fucking that hard on the person. But I purposely made it to where I was attacking Google and YouTube. I made it clear that I wasn't really attacking him. You're just facing the blunt force, and sorry, we've all been there. But I'm saying this right now. If you ever had me on chat support, sorry, not sorry. I'm going to be a fucking asshole to you because you should have the ability to do what I'm talking about. And if you don't, I know damn well you're sitting in a group of people, like in a cubicle next to other people who can tell me, who can do it. And when you say transfer you over to our other department, it's literally the fucker right next to you. Guarantee you.
Greg, how dare you interrupt Wine Box Friday? YouTube headquarters.
I know. I'm such an asshole.
Everyone shares their box wine with each other and enjoys a day at work. You have to go up there harsh and they're mellow. Oh man.
So, but this is the funny part about what I got out of him from this recent conversation is the guy is being a complete retard. I keep going, why is this one now rejected? Well, you just submitted it, so I can't tell you what it is. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? I am talking about the one I got the email, send a screenshot, 6:08 p.m. of the talk of what I submitted yesterday, getting rejected. I'm like, and he's like, I'm not sure I understand. Like, I think we're on different way, trying to make the excuse. I think we're on different, whatever. I'm like, no, you're just being a fucking asshole. I know you are, but I'll be an asshole right back. Susan leaves and nothing changes. I know, right? But I pretty much got him to like admit that they see my past conversations. They have a history of it. And I'm like, oh, so you can actually look up the history. So you're lying to me. You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. And you're just pussyfooting me along. It was that pussyfooting at the end of the conversation of when he actually busted out the, I'm trying to do the best I can. Please be respectful, and all that stuff. But, dude, it has just been a roller coaster.
I think they have you tagged in their system as a autistic white supremacist KKK overlord. So now that you've reached overlord status in the system, I mean, it goes no higher than that. So
hey,
they
I'll do what I have to do to get my shit back working.
they're like, listen here, cracker, we don't got time to help you.
Yep. But
how dare you call us?
Dude, it's unbelievable. Like I was talking with Ryan, the editor, about this, and it's amazing on how they just treat you like a damn child. And then they want you to act professional and reasonable. I'm like, I'm fucking telling you exactly what I want you to do. It's either A, tell me why this account keeps getting fucking rejected, even though when two people said we can't tell you the reason why, the third person says, I can tell you exactly why. And then this person is like, well, you just submitted it. I can't tell you the reason why. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm talking about the one that just got rejected, not the one I literally just resubmitted. Like the minute I read that rejection email. Like, do not lie to me. Like, you fucking douchebags.
I wish Rod was here to simp for YouTube.
God damn it, Rod. Where were you?
Where are you, Rod? You're supposed to be having a mental breakdown in the chat over how we need to respect Susan.
I know, right?
As stated earlier, no longer with the company. Because the minute subpoenas started going out, she magically quit.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the day of.
Rod is on permanent vacation. Says Chaos Smash. Yeah, so I guess to sum it all up, guys, I'm really upset at Google AdSense and YouTube. And I understand it's not their fault.
What?
I
You're not
understand we're
upset.
just human. What's up?
You're not upset. You're peak joy right now. Greg is having the
Exactly.
time of his life. He
Mm-hmm.
loves calling YouTube and having them piss him off all day.
Yep. If it's not car problems, it's trying to be a responsible content creator by separating your personal and your business. You know, just taking that next step, and YouTube and Google AdSense just saying you're a faggot, you don't deserve that, and just fuck it. You know.
As much as I hate boomers, like at least they still understood like you had to keep things moving and keep work rolling, and you had to answer phones and like deal with people if you were going to be running some sort of business where like everyone's financials were involved in some way. And it is mind-blowing how like the modern big tech is like the least I don't want to say user friendly, but like they're the least catering to customers
Yeah.
that I've ever seen. It's like the world of, like you say, trying to be a responsible adult. They don't exist anymore. It's companies being ran by irresponsible 28-year-olds with one dude at the top that doesn't
And
care as long as the check shows up. You know, it's
exactly. And their policies, they cater to these people by purposely making their policies super vague. Like
yeah.
I'm sure, I'll admit, I'm sure if I fucking wanted to spend my afternoon reading the Google's policy, that at some point or another I could have stumbled across of, if you want to relink your YouTube AdSense account to a different email, make sure blah 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 blah. But you should just fucking say that right up front when you go, hey, you want to reconnect to a different AdSense account? Check the following things. How hard is that to do? Because I did not see it. Like you literally click it, and then it's like I think it was I was unable to connect to it. So it just makes you assume, oh, I guess I just got to remake or reapply to another AdSense account. And then they have a policy telling you that you can't have duplicates. It's fucking stupid.
Okay, chaos.
And then on one of the
Google
conversations,
is
what's
a
up?
DARPA create. I was just letting chaos know Google is a DARPA created like CIA company. So
Mm-hmm.
just be careful.
What do I have to do? Kidnap a Google official and record a video where I cut their stomachs open just to get the point across? My gosh, man. I mean, I'm all for like tapping some knees or whatever. That's pretty harsh. No, like it's what you were saying, Joe. Like it's policies created for people who don't want to work and treat you like fucking idiots. There's no transparency anymore. That's the thing. Oh, here's the other thing too. All this chat support that I've been talking to, it's technically it's on YouTube in the YouTube studio, but yet when you do it, the name of the chat support is called Google support. One person said you actually have to contact AdSense like support to get the reason why they're declining your application. Guess what? They don't have a chat support. They don't have a contact information to contact about. You know what you can do? Submit a ticket, which you know they're never going to respond to. Uh-oh. What the fuck happened? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
They read chaos comment and we're like, bloop.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, even Melanap didn't want to hear my rant. Boomer moment. No, that wasn't me, dude. Like my hands were not on the mouse. It just hit both of us. Anyway, whatever, technology. But no, yeah, if you want a response to your specific stuff, you have to post it in the online community forum. But then in the end, it didn't matter because I got Precious save the conversation and have proof that one, they can immediately tell you the reason why it was rejected. Two, they can actually link up to your AdSense account. And three, look up your past history conversation. So all this just to try to separate stuff. And I'm still dealing with it. And that is the reason why my YouTube is demonetized. And aside from the Power Up podcast show, any game streaming for anybody new watching and stuff like that, I will be on Twitch and Rumble. I reactivated my Twitch affiliate, although technically I think the ruling says you're not supposed to show your live stream after 24 hours. Like, you're supposed to, like, if you want to share your live stream video that you streamed, you're supposed to wait 24 hours. Technically, you're not supposed to multi-stream. But I'm an affiliate, so fuck it. Until if they make me a fucking partner, I won't do it. But until then, suck it. I don't care. But yeah, that's where you'll find me until I can get this monetization bullshit figured out. But yeah, that was my reason why Google ad support and YouTube support fucking sucks. And that's why people hate you guys. And that's why people like me will just swear and berate you on the chat support because you don't deserve respect. Because you treat me like an idiot.
How's things going over on Rumble?
I'm trying to grow. I have 26 followers right now. So I think they're upgrading a lot of stuff, and I've got a locals attached too. It's hard, you know.
Yeah, I haven't paid much attention to Rumble, to be honest. Like, I know a lot of people are starting to do shows there, but I don't know. My gut still is just leaning towards like Odyssey. I just feel like Odyssey's like cooler and hipper, but maybe I'm wrong.
I understand that. I think Rumble is taking a lot of stuff to attract more people. Unfortunately, I still think they're doing what alternate techs claim they do, but yet in the end don't. And it's understandable, but it's still scummy. Not scummy, but it's still disappointing. Is the fact of whenever a big person gets canceled, that's when the alternate tech comes over and goes, hey, we'll make you exclusive on part. They're still honestly really not thinking about the little channels and how to help them grow.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think they're still running into that because they're trying to utilize canceled people or people that said, like, I'm looking for a different alternative, and they'll come and cater to them real quick and get them to show up and stuff like that. But that really doesn't mean anything for the smaller channels that want to try to grow and whatnot. But I've personally learned at this point, it's really all about, and I said this when Lofty was on, when I hung out with him and got to know him a little bit. And he kind of said the same thing too. It's all about networking at this point.
Yeah.
This idea of becoming an overnight sensation or a hit overnight and stuff like that doesn't really happen anymore. And even if it does happen, it's sadly a lot of luck. Like, you did whatever you did at the right time with the right algorithm going, and maybe you even utilized the algorithm and stuff, but you just got lucky. That's what I say with my best of pigeon videos too, because I kind of put it together of no one's done it, no one knows about this show. It's a new Norm Macdonald bit that no one ever knows. I guarantee you I'm going to get some big views. How big? I don't know. But it did grow. But yet, in the end, it wasn't really what my channel was about. And it actually, at some point, got me demonetized. So I had to get rid of it. So it was a one-time thing. It was fun. I need some more whiskey. I will be right back, Joe. Hold the fort. Promote what you need to promote.
All right, gang. I will sure enough promote for a little bit here. But yeah, I have a comic book, graphic novel / manga over on Indiegogo called Death, Death, Death. You can find the link in Greg's description there on the video. It is shadow banned, so you can't dig it up through like Google or even the Indiegogo search at this point. It's weird. If you have Brave browser, it'll come right up. But outside of that, good luck without a direct link. But yeah, it's a sci-fi fantasy comic book. It's kind of like Transformers meets Berserk meets Bible lore. You know, it's a mishmash of those universes in a lot of ways, and it's a story that's got a lot of heart. It's focused around a mother, a father, and a child, and they're trying to make their way basically through a land war that they really didn't have a big part of, but got stuck in the midst of it nonetheless. That is a lot of what the book revolves around. So, for all intents and purposes, it's like a war book with some supernatural and sci-fi themes all kind of mixed together. And it not quite to a Star Wars level, but you know, you can still say sci-fi fantasy in the same way. Sam Hyde, I just saw that. Sam Hyde, he's one of those dudes where I like him and he's funny, but he's funny in like small doses. Like some of his bits will go on for like 45 minutes and stop being funny after about 6 minutes. So it just depends on what Sam Hyde thing I'm catching. But overall, he's always been a pretty solid, funny dude.
Oh, Joe, did you ever see that message I sent you in the private chat?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Look, where is it? Private chat.
That's something
Okay.
I always tell you, that if you're ever
Yep.
down, like no biggie. Sam
Yeah,
Hyde, oh gosh, who's
I'll
Sam Hyde again?
Sam Hyde. Actually, it's funny he mentions the whole Google execs kidney thing or stomach thing because Sam Hyde had this bit where he actually, I think it's maybe not what got him canceled, but was like a part of the build up to it, where like guy would be walking down the street like, I'm a banker for blah blah blah, and a random dude would come up and just gut him like a fish, and they would just repeat this bit.
Oh,
But Sam
God.
Hyde used very specific names of specific people and stuff
Nice.
that worked at these companies, and it was funny. Like it was just like you had to understand he was being like, hey, like subtly in a comedic way, trying to say like, there's only so many ways to solve world's problems, and it sucks, and we're all just going to have to kind of accept it at some point. But
until the good Lord comes back and smites everything.
yeah, he'll smite all.
He'll adjust
everybody
it real quick if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Dude, Sam Hyde's Candyman character he did for the boxing thing he did with KSI. He was playing this Irish guy. He held this character like the whole time. He was like either like pre-show or in match, like anytime it was related to this boxing stuff, he was the Candyman, and he was basically this dude with an Irish accent that would like speak in long rhymes. Like they would just go on forever, and they were always like super cheesy and stupid. And you know, then he called out Hassan Pike, and Hassan went running off crying. Because Sam Hyde was like, I'm coming to your house, Hassan, in Los Angeles. And then he says some other things I'm not going to say because I don't want to get your last refuge of YouTube completely wiped out. But you can find it. It's hilarious, the after fight promo.
At this point, I don't give a shit. Or maybe that's the whiskey talking. I usually try to do 2 fingers. I may have done 3 on accident.
Hey, more is always better.
So my apologies if I slur. But that's just me tripping over my thoughts because my brain is running 1,000 miles an hour and how pissed off I am. Yeah, that and on top of car issues. Oh, that's the worst.
Well, dude, it's people get sick of every fucking day, every fucking thing being a struggle. Every little task, every simple thing should not be a struggle. And it wears on a person when it's like, okay, I could put up with it for a few years. But now it's getting to a point where it's like, no, there's got to be a way to make at least some of this stuff not be so fucking irritating and difficult because it's not necessary
Well, I can
to
definitely say like my faith has grown stronger too. Because obviously I always try to grow my faith when I can, but like trying to read the Bible more and stuff like that. And definitely, and we were talking about a little bit too, like I think there's just been an increase of like spiritual warfare happening like all over the place. It is insanely like creepy on how like I can just feel and visually like see it happening, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, I 100% agree. It's there's like a whole lot of factors that come together, and I know some people don't like hearing about it, but it's like there's clearly something to the way God set up the planets and gravitational pulls and things that have effects on us.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't 100% rule out like planet alignments causing things. Maybe it's not causing it like in a the planets are evil way, but there is something to all these things being lined up, or like these peak times and these peak holiday periods, especially for occult holidays, where
Mm-hmm.
you can line up like the seasonal changes, the alignments, what's going on with demonic activity, with satanic activities around this planet, because they peak and they boom at these spots. And if you look at the calendars and you look at the dates at which they focus on, those are the in a way the same dates we should sort of be focused on in terms
Mm-hmm.
of trying to doing something, at least preying on it to counteract these times a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. And
I just think
it's
a lot. I just think a
you
lot of
can
that.
feel it there.
Oh,
You
sorry.
know when it's happening. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think a lot of it's like I definitely in the West because I think the West has had an interesting experience of when it comes to that, like throughout history and whatnot. Um, because you have your what is it the satanic panic like in the 90s and early 200s and stuff like that, but like and then just our country's history in general. That's a whole other thing too. But I think the West has never really truly understood exactly how influential that sort of stuff is compared to like Central Earth and like the East sort of thing. Because really,
Yeah.
I mean, if on a biblical standpoint, like everything started like around the Euphrates and the Tigris River and stuff like that, and everything spread it out. So all the crazy stuff that you hear happens around there, if not like over at the East. The West has very. It's like it's. I know it's always been there because there's always a power behind the sort of stuff, but like it's really starting to like really it's like, okay, now we're gonna slowly start revealing ourselves. And chaos,
It's
to answer
been
your
blatant.
question,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah,
answer
it's
your
been much
question,
more blatant lately.
what's up?
It's been more blatant lately
Yeah.
when we're seeing it. I'm not just talking from an entertainment perspective, like people saying like, "Oh, there was something weird at the Grammys." It's like, yeah, that's like every award show for the last 25 years. We just have short memories, but
Mm-hmm.
there it's to a point now where it's outside of the entertainment industry. You have
Yeah.
global leaders showing up in black robes to normal events you should be in a three-piece suit for, not a fucking Satan Lord robe. So
Yeah.
it's just, and you can see it in the activities. You can see it in the things happening and people in the chaos in different places too. You know where those spikes and where it's being
Mm-hmm.
directed at. That makes sense. And right now it's being directed at
Yeah.
us amongst others as well.
Someone, a person I like to listen to, just John Barnett, Discover the Book Ministry on YouTube. He's been talking about. I really like how he preaches the word, and he's been talking about revelations a lot and whatnot. He does an excellent job explaining kind of like what the Antichrist is, on how it's a human being, but 100% influenced by demonic power. And he talks about how when God's in control, kind of think of it like control rods, like suppressing a certain amount and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And with the Antichrist, like he allows Satan, he like 100% removes the controlling rods to like allow Satan to infest this man per se and all the demonic stuff like that. And like I can just see like the control rods and a lot of stuff that maybe have been holding back a lot, like slowly getting released. And um chaos, to answer your question, when the Lord smites douchebags, does that mean I get the same thing since I'm not a Christian. If you're legitimately asking that question,
I've got
I'm
some
not.
bad news for you, Chaos.
Yeah, we're not going to pull any punches here. There's always a chance to
Yeah.
be saved and to look into the word and the biblical teachings. That's on you. That's up to you. Obviously, Joe and I and lots of other people would gladly answer questions if you
We
ever
don't get to make the rules with this
yeah.
stuff, and unfortunately, like when it comes to
Hmm.
something like God, an idea that big in the first place, or a being that has no beginning and no end and created everything, there's a certain amount of acceptance that it's the same way as when I draw a picture and I'm not satisfied with it. There's no one that can stop me from wadding it up and throwing it in the trash. And the Lord has that same discretion. And he doesn't really have like he doesn't owe anyone reasons or whys or who's or where's. It's just
Hmm.
I'm dictating this and you're gonna have to live with the result no matter if you like it or not or how you feel about it.
Very
So
interesting.
yeah, if it sucks because yeah, there's some good people that are not Christians, but there are keys to these things where it's just God asks one thing of people, and if they can't give him that one thing, then sorry.
Hmm.
What else does he have to give us at this point? A father can only spoil you for so long before we all turn into complete fucking insufferable brats, which is probably how he views most of us at this point.
That's yeah, and the
So,
Bible always talks about obviously Jesus refers to him as his heavenly father, the father, and all that stuff too. That's how I always looked at it, as a father figure. When people go, well, how can God do such a thing and stuff like that? Like, how can God send people to hell or whatever? And that in itself, it's derives from a lot of answers of one, people send themselves to hell. God doesn't do that. In fact, God specifically made hell, aka the lake of fire, Gehenna, for Satan and his angels and the demons and whatnot. Um,
we're
but
saying you're fucked, chaos. I'm sorry. I'm trying to bring a little humor into your chaos. I got, in the words of Bad News Barrett, I've got some bad news. You're
got
fucked.
news for you. It means you're fucked. No, but I'll also say, hey, you can be a douchebag and also be a Christian. Um, and what I mean by that is that there's a lot of people out there that have this false idea that Christians can be pushovers, and it's 100% not true. Um, One of the biggest misconceptions is judgment. And people will always, that's the go to of like, well, as a Christian, how dare you judge me? If they actually read the Bible, judgment actually is called a lot. Now, there's a thing of it that Jesus talks about that people like to throw the verse around, um, judge not lest ye be judged. But they don't continue the verse to where it's, you know, don't call out the speck in someone's eye when you have a log in your own. And pretty much what that adds up to of the fact of, if you're going to judge someone, be prepared for them to judge you back on your standards. And if that's the case, you better be sure that you are standing right with God. Because if you are and you do, then you're justified.
And guess what, chaos? I'm judging you on your foul fucking language because it makes me sick to my goddamn stomach. You degenerate heathen, chaos. You're
You degenerate
you,
man. That's it.
you're
That's
going
another
to
thing
hell.
too.
We're
That's
trying to
another
save
thing.
you here, chaos. We're trying to help you. And look at look at what you do. You lull us.
Yeah.
Lull.
Yes. Yes. Judge me harder, daddy. That's another thing too that people don't understand. Swearing. A lot of the times, whenever the Bible talks about cursing, it's actually putting a curse on someone. Um,
Yeah,
and
it literally means a curse. Yeah, not
yeah,
a
yeah.
like,
Because actually, let's see. Solomon in not Proverbs, but the other one. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. But I believe it's Solomon. Pretty much Solomon at the end of the day said, like, at the end of the day, everything is literally piss in the wind. It doesn't matter, per se. John said used used rags, which literally means like used menstrual rags.
Yeah.
Good to know my humor still amuses you. Absolutely. Yeah. It humored me. Um, let's see. Uh, Elijah straight up called the worshipers of Baal, asking where his God is. Is he on? Is he taking a shit? He pretty much said that. But yeah, and actually, Jesus called people and John as well. A bunch of vipers, a sly fox. Those were actually really harsh insults back in the day. So that's the funny thing about swearing too, like saying shit and stuff like that. Now, yes, technically, you really shouldn't be like saying like you're a fucking idiot to someone like that. Yeah, that can be a little harsh.
You're not supposed to be cruel and mean and
Yeah, you're
vindictive.
not supposed to be that. But if you're like talking about like, hey, this is like in my Google chats, like, hey, this is fucking bullshit. Actually nothing wrong saying that because you're not insulting anybody and stuff like that per se. You're just calling upon the situation. So, what I'm getting at is a lot of those people don't really understand. Like, don't really know the Bible well enough to understand that it by being strong in the Word, you can act like you're not a pushover. The Bible supports self defense. It's very based. People just don't know it, and that's what anti believers or people who hate the Bible try to use to stop people. But then you'll notice that those people usually target like fresh Christians and stuff like that, whose faith are just being grown. So that's where hopefully people who understand the Bible call them out and stand up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like your question or your comment, Chaos, and I said it before, like if legit people want questions and want to know about that stuff, like I'm open. I'm sure Joe will be open to talk about it and that stuff, but we're not pulling punches. Like, yeah, like there will be a point, like the Bible says about the father. The father, every father disciplines their children at some point or another. God's is on a wholly different level. And did you hear, sadly, Joe, that Michael Eisner died?
No, I did not.
The author of The Unseen Realm and stuff like that.
No, I had not heard that at all.
Yeah, he passed away recently. He was fighting pancreatic cancer.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah, I'd heard he had been having some cancer issues, but I didn't realize it had finally caught up with him.
Michael Eisner.
Hey, I'll be right back. I just got to check on my kids real quick.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I'm trying to find where I put them.
All right, I'm back.
That's cool. I'm trying to find. I have no idea where I put them. Michael Heiser. I kind of get his name mixed up sometimes, but he wrote the Unseen Realm, recovering the supernatural worldview of the Bible. Really good book. Really good book. I would recommend people looking into it. Never mind, you said what he made. Oh, I get you. No, that's all right though. But really dope book. And yeah, he sadly passed away recently. Yeah, he wrote like pretty interesting stuff. I've been reading that book, and that one, going back to kind of what you were saying, Joel, about God, like not really like the creator of beings doesn't have to answer to anybody, per se. But what's interesting is that God has a divine counsel. If you really look and analyze the scripture in the Hebrew and whatnot, you'll learn that God has a divine counsel that represents him. While we as humans were meant to represent him, be imagers, as Michael would put it, be imagers of God. So when he created the earth, that was for us to showcase to reality who God is and stuff by cultivating the earth, multiplying the earth, and filling the earth. God actually has a divine council, what are also called Elohims. But to summarize and make it kind of easy, think of Elohims, which also translates to God. Think of God of the Most High with a capital G, and Elohim, these spiritual beings, as gods with a lowercase g. But just interesting enough, did God need to create a divine council that he would summon these people together and hang out and talk about like what's happening? No, but he did. So just kind of going back to what you were saying, Joel, about like ultimately, like God actually doesn't need to answer to anybody, sort of thing. That's exactly
Yeah,
what Job. That's exactly what Job was all about too. God didn't answer
sometimes I think
any of
that's
Job's.
just something that like people fail to. I'm not speaking to you specifically anymore, Chaos. I'm just talking in general. But
Yeah,
like a lot of people I've met over the years, which I mean, my 25-year-old brain was the same way at one point. So I'm not like making big judgment calls on them. I know it just depends on your what you've been through in life. But
did I call him Joel? Maybe I don't know.
he
I don't
calls
know.
me Susan sometimes. It's weird. Just we're not
I
going to
call
talk
you
about
what?
it. Did you call me Susan sometimes? It's
Susan. Yeah,
weird. It's,
it depends on how many like much of the whiskey I've drink. I've drink. Oh my gosh, I've drunk. Oh boy, but this was needed. So continue, Joel.
Joel. But it's like they forget that there's a certain amount of answers and explanations and this and that that they expect um regular people to be able to answer God tier questions or things you cannot know unless you're
Mhm.
God himself. And it's it can be a little difficult at times because it's like, look, I get we can find some answer for what you're saying here, but there's a certain point where if a person really believes in it and they're going to run with it for life, you've got to accept that there's going to be stuff that's like it's hard to wrap your brain around unless you can look at it from the perspective of I created everything. That's literally the only way a person's going to get like why certain things go a certain way. Created everything and left free will to work itself out and would still have influence where necessary. And
Mhm.
and once sin was brought into that mix, as hard as a concept as that is for people to understand too, it's like so doing one bad thing set off a chain reaction. It's like yeah, it's literally how everything in the world that's ever went wrong ever happened was one bad thing setting off chain reactions of other bad things. That's just
Mhm.
something where it won't stop till the links in those chains are broken. And um I don't know. It's just I know when Christians talk about some of this stuff, it sounds like they try to make it sound simple on paper, and they should, but it's at the same time, I think like doses of reality have to be brought into something when you're talking about these huge ideas that are hard for our brains to wrap around sometimes, just in
Mhm.
terms of the scale of how big it really is, if you truly believe it. I think people that have zero interest and don't believe in any shape or form, it doesn't seem that big or that out there to them to the same degree that it does to us, at least in terms of scale and importance and whatnot. But
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's like, guys, I can't, I'll never be able to give you a full answer on why God does this or that or what. All I can tell you is if I was in his shoes, I would have probably been a lot more brutal at this point. So be glad we got who we got. So I know me personally, my heart ain't that big.
oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I think a
I
lot of
wish it
people
was, but it's not. So
think a lot of people do that way too. I actually think one of the underrated characters in the Bible, Jonah. Um, I think Jonah actually. A lot of people say Peter represents a lot of people. I think Jonah actually represents a lot of people in there because Jonah did not want the people of Nineveh to be saved at all. He didn't want to preach to them. He didn't want to listen to God, and he sure as hell didn't want God to forgive them. He was begging and hoping all that time, like when God called to him and he tried to run away and all that stuff, excluding the great fish. It's actually a great fish, not a whale. excluding the great fish. Jonah ran away from God and did not want to preach to the people in Nineveh, the Ninevites, because he was absolutely terrified that God was going to forgive him. And you actually read in chapter 3, I believe there's only 3 chapters. Chapter 3, he was pissed that he even called out God saying, I knew you were going to forgive him, and I didn't want that. And there's a lot of reasons why he didn't want that. He was, in the sense, he was a patriot, in the sense of he knew Nineveh like oppressed his people and stuff like that. So, he was very against them because he didn't want, he knew they didn't deserve forgiveness. But that showcased on how much God loves his creation to spare him, because that's the other miracle that happened. The entire city of Nineveh repented like that. Word got to the king of what Jonah was preaching, and the king just went off of based on what he heard, because that's how big Nineveh was. It you could ride chariots around on the walls. That's how tall and strong it was. But
Dude, the ancient times were crazy.
Oh, I swear there's ancient technology that is more advanced than what we have today. Guarantee you. Due to,
well, it's interesting just how ahead of its time, like even chariots were. Like a
I
lot of
know.
people don't realize, like Zachariah's family was like, I guess you could call them like chariot barons. And they would kind of cross paths with like Noah's family, because you know how a lot of let's not sugarcoat this. When God has a favorite, they get blessed bigly a lot of times, and
Yep.
a lot of his guys had huge amounts of wealth and money and prosperity and children and stuff like that.
Job
And it
is
got
the
to a
earliest
point
book.
where well, yeah, just the amount of sway, like Noah and Zachariah through Zachariah's chariots, that he was just selling like hotcakes to everyone, even though you have to kind of look at other records of history to see that that's what his family kind of was known for outside of a biblical, a supernatural text, and that they were crossing paths with Noah, and it was well known that Noah and his family were also settled between the mountains where we suspect the ark, ended at, and it was that same region, and they had control over all of that to the point where was it Nimrod? I forget who it was. I want to say it was Nimrod, but someone kept coming to Noah. It was a king in the time, and trying to send him these long chiseled out soliloquies to get his attention and make Noah's family work with him more. And Noah would be like, you and Noah, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to think. No, was the Tower of Babel after the flood?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, Nimrod was the first dictator of the world, or try to be. But
It could, but don't quote me on it though. It could have been another king. I just feel like the name was very similar. It could have been Nicodemus or somebody else
Nimrod
that I'm
would make
mixing
sense,
the name
but yeah,
up with.
I don't know. I can't verify that. I have to look it up.
But the funny part was these big tablets of nonsense this king was sending to Noah to try to sway his family. Noah would literally send messages back that, let's put them in today's language, would say stuff like, nah man, you sound like a nutcase. Don't come near me, you're weird. Stuff like that. And it was just so funny that even a dude that went through the flood went on to have a flourishing family their roots are still in that area to this day.
Well, that's another misconception too, is that Jesus said the love of money. Money itself is not bad. And
oh no,
the Bible showed itself. Job, the earliest book of the Bible, Job was very, very wealthy for his time. Kind of around the time of I believe Abraham, maybe even a little bit earlier. Job is the oldest book, I know that for sure. But Job, before even the covenant and stuff like that, Job knew there was God, and he knew he had to give offerings to him to appease him, to the point where he did it for all of his sons and daughters and everything. And God blessed him with very good wealth. Same with Abraham and stuff like that. So yeah, being rich isn't bad or anything like that. It's when it consumes you. That's the problem. But go ahead, Joe. Sorry. I interrupted.
It's sometimes I think it's interesting um how much real world history is in the Bible and how that's such a source, and you can look it up and match it to other historical things where there was enough people alive at the point when it was discovered to at least read it and know what
Mhm.
it was. Whereas like the Sumerian tablets, I'm getting way off base here, but like all the tablets from Sumar that people know how to claim they know how to read, and like Zechariah Hinchin makes these entire books about what it says. None of those people have any clue what any of that says. It's literally a deader than deader. It's such a dead language that it's unidentifiable. There's not one hint to another language enough to start to pick apart or dissect. And I've seen plenty of dudes that are like, it says all this shit about aliens having nuclear wars, and then later you find out these guys are like, I don't know, it sounded cool. Like they have no clue what any of it says, but we do have a lot of solid stuff out there that really backs up stone tablets and things that we have translations from that
Mhm.
back up all these people existing, all the events happening. And even some of it with the twist, because these were usually records kept by like uh, uh, city record keepers, like non opinionated people. They were just there to keep track of the daily ongoings of
Mhm.
things, and kind of like Josephus. That's why people looked at
Yeah, I was just
Josephus
gonna say
as a solid
Josephus.
source. Yeah,
Excuse me, Josephus. Slurring. Uh-oh.
there,
Uh,
even he has a record of going between the mountains and coming across some of Noah's family, and
mhm.
that they had
Yeah.
there were huge stones there with holes in them that looked like anchor stones, but he couldn't figure out, like he didn't think the ark had anchors, and it confused him. And to this day, there's these giant ass anchor stones all over the place up there with these giant holes bored through them where you would run a rope. And they're apps. It's just interesting that down to
Mhm.
the very locations and spots you can match all this information up going back 10, 12,000 years.
Mhm. Yeah, the Genesis 6 conspiracy with by Gary Wayne. Um he mentions a lot of like historians too, that if you where a lot of non-believers will say that the Bible's not historically accurate, there's actually a lot of actual historians and whose people that they do trust their work actually do support what the Bible talks about. They just obviously don't want to talk about it because it goes against everything what they're trying
Oh, it's
to
looked at as the top historical book for the ancient times. There literally is not like a whole lot of other. There's some things, some old tablets and things like that they can translate, and stuff that was passed down verbally through different generations and places.
Mhm.
But like the average historian puts dates and times and places on key battles between these huge empires of the times, and the order in which these things happened and when these empires took place. That's all based off the Bible, and pretty well accepted that that's the family trees in it are accurate. People don't realize, like, the Bible's a giant family tree slash historical record to show us how the seed started and that how it led up to where we are now.
Mhm. And yet
Is
it goes beyond that to shows
yeah.
God's reaching out to humanity and his creations and wanting to save them and stuff like that. It's all interconnected if you really sit down and analyze it. That goes back to what you were saying, Joe, about like people like you'll notice how all these naysayers and stuff like that, how they won't go and ask these questions to people who've dedicated their lives to research and do that stuff. They'll attack new Christians or established Christians, but don't really go to the people who've dedicated their lives to learning
they'll,
about it too,
they'll attack
because
some
they'll get
silly person that goes to a mega church that just claps their hands and sings for 45 minutes and then leave. Like they don't like
yeah. That's
it's
that's
kind of sad as a guy that drew, like, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. So despite the fact that it's like a skewed version of Christianity,
really I did
it
not know that.
yeah, it still lays a lot of groundwork for you, so you at least, because I did a ton, like I had to read the Bible constantly as a kid. Now
Hmm.
it was their version, so it was tweaked a little, but
Oh
not
man.
so much that I can't comprehend it. Like now it's tweaked a bunch. It's bad now. It's way worse than when I was a kid. Like they've butchered it in 25, 30 years. But when I was a
Oh,
kid, it was still pretty close to what most Christians would believe, except they would pick weird things to like hold on to that didn't make sense. Like they refused to believe like the red flag was Jesus was hung on a stake, not a cross. And once you realize how strange it is to say, look,
wait,
we don't
a
believe,
steak?
yeah, like a straight, like a log straight up without the cross factor, without the across spot for his arms. So his arms would have been over his head, pinned together, and then his feet below.
Oh,
Like in a straight
I mean,
line.
I immediately thought of Vlad the Impaler. I was gonna be like, dear Lord, that's awful.
No, it's basically crucified minus the cruci. It's just the fide part. But
Wow.
it's
Wow.
it's a strange belief, and they act very scared of crosses. Like when I was a kid, I don't know if it's that bad now, but when I was a kid, like they would act kind of weirded out, like they were in a room with like a devil worshiper. If they saw a cross, it would
Oh
make them uneasy
man.
because they were taught it was an evil symbol. And it's like, what more of a red flag that you're not a legitimate Christian organization if you
Yeah.
think the key symbol that we all cling to and the thing that it specifically states he was crucified. It did not say put on a stake or too lowly to get crucified. Because they would like
What's
their
the
way of
point?
rationale. Well,
What
they
was
say
what
Roman,
was the point of
Roman,
changing it to a steak?
well, they claim that well, partially because it was a satanic thing started by a
Oh,
Freemason named
well, yeah.
Charles Tassel, a
Well,
multi-millionaire.
I should have expected as much.
Yeah, he's buried right in front of the Masonic Hall in Pittsburgh. It's huge. Like Jehovah's Witnesses don't want to acknowledge he has this massive pyramid covered in satanic symbols. It's his
Oh
burial
dear,
site. He's the
oh
only
god,
one
dear
buried
Lord.
on site. Yeah, at that particular lodge up in Pittsburgh. But him and Joseph Smith were kind of sent out. They went to the same lodge when they were young, and they were issued like the same running statement. The only reason we know this is because they eventually kind of spilled the beans on some of this kind of stuff in their older age. But both said to start versions of Christianity, but that were not Christian. Like that was like you got the print. Like here's your resources, Joseph. You've got sway over. Like you're charismatic enough that people will believe any nonsense you say. So that's kind of the roles they played. But their rationale is Roman carpenters would not have wasted time putting the extra log in to make a cross for people like thieves and such, that like that wasn't common, when it's like no, it very much was common. I don't know why you guys say this or where you get this idea, but I can find countless things outside of the Bible that show it was
Not to
common to
mention
crucify
the
people for
Romans.
all kinds of
Not
reasons.
to, not to mention the Romans didn't invent crucifism. The Syrians did,
Yeah,
if I'm not
they
mistaken.
just like
Like,
Jehovah's Witnesses just have weird rationale for certain things. Like they don't
oh my
celebrate, you
gosh.
know how we celebrate like Jesus' birth or Christmas or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jehovah's Witnesses celebrate his death. They don't celebrate his birth. So, because
Ah, the
and
Mel
their
Gibson approach.
yeah, their rationale is it was more about who he was when he died than the fact that he was born. And I'm like, well, I think the fact that he was born is pretty fucking important too. But they also use that rationale to have no birthdays. So that's why like Jehovah's Witness kids have no birthdays, because that's looked at as a
Just
gaudy,
you
satanic
existed.
styled ritual for your birth. Yeah, I didn't have a birthday till I was like 19,
Really?
20, for that
Wow.
realm. Yeah.
Wait, so did you pick your birthday?
I mean, I have a day I was born on, but yeah, like basically I was working out in Colorado for a log cabin company up in the mountains, and we were getting drunk and I was talking to some of my coworkers, and I had mentioned something about like say we're talking about birthdays and asked me about mine. I was like, no, dude, I didn't have any of that till I was like never. Like basically I was like, I've just never had one. So they surprised me like a day or two later with like a little birthday shindig. So it was like that was probably the
Oh,
first that I ever had. And I was like 18 or 19 at the time.
well, that was
And
nice
I
of
had my
them.
first, yeah. And like my first Christmas was with like my wife's family when I was about like 20. Um, when they found out I'd never had a Christmas before. Here's the thing, you're still around it, so you feel like you participated even though you didn't. So like
Mhm.
I saw the Christmas shows, I was at school for all the Christmas stuff, and even though I was excluded from most of those things, I was like there in spirit, you could say. Like it still made me happy just to see it, just to see the pageantry
That's
and the
good at least.
tradition. So
At
yeah,
least
it
you weren't
sucked
like
not getting.
bitter about it or something.
I mean, I was when I was young. I'm not now. You know, I can
Mhm.
look back on all of it fondly in hindsight. And honestly, I knew a lot of really good Jehovah's Witnesses too. I don't want to sound mean towards them. Some of the best people I knew as a kid were hardcore Jehovah's Witnesses, and there was no risk of them touching your kids inappropriately or doing weird things like the ones I knew. I'm not saying that applies to all of them because they've had their own pedo issues at the top, just like a lot of organizations and churches do. But like it was just safe people when I was a kid. It was kind of wild when I look backwards. I'm like, my parents could have literally left us with anyone we went to church with in the late 80s and the early 90s, and I think they were all the most sweetheart people I'd ever met. Like there wasn't a mean bone in any of their bodies, but it does attract mentally ill people now. Like that's the kind of people they get. So the crowd's different these
Yeah.
days. It's a lot of like elderly and like people with serious mental problems. And I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just it's a pseudo Christianity. It's weird. And
Well, I learned something new today. That's amazing.
yeah.
Weird, but
Well, dude,
amazing.
it's why I have like a lot of Bible knowledge, but I learned so much more later. It's like I had a good base. I'll give it that. Like it's tough because it usually like has a stranglehold on people's minds growing up. So then they
Mhm.
just go like polar opposite and just go wild once they get out of the house. But
Yeah.
for me, I had
Mhm.
like a little wild stage, and then I went right into a like I think there is something to all this stuff stage. You know, like I felt a little atheist for a while and all that kind of like mid-20s stuff. But you know, eventually you can't deny. I think that's what's really strange in today's world. We do see so much weird shit happening. People being blatantly satanic on like television and award ceremonies that like now normies are like, you know what, there might be to something all this Jesus stuff because like look at these fucking weirdos. Like they clearly hate it. Like what would possess a person to hate it so much? Oh yeah,
Well,
Satan.
it's so funny because they think they're just joking and like owning people and stuff like that. It's like, you're
We all think
falling
we're a
right
bunch
into
of
their
crazy
trap, and you're just
weirdos.
idiots
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. To
Chaos
us,
says if
all
I
we
hmm?
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying Chaos says if I could pick my birthday, it'd be in the spring because winter sucks. Very true.
Dude, I'm a June born guy, so it's summertime birthdays for me every year.
I am actually of this month, the 16th
Yeah.
is me.
Dude, it's weird though. Like I still don't really care about my birthday. Like I
I
think the
stopped
years
caring
where it's
about
a big
mine.
deal to a person like pass me by, and like now I'm like, I just still just leave me alone and be quiet. It's the best thing, the best gift you could give dad this year. Leaving me alone and everyone being
Chaos
quiet.
says you lucky bastard. You lucky bastard. No, my folks thought I was gonna be a girl, and so they picked my birthday on my grandma's birthday. But I wasn't. I had a penis, so I was a
Oh
man.
no.
And I always thought it was funny because I was like, man, why couldn't you just put me on St. Patty's Day? That would have been awesome. Instead, you picked the day like right after the Ides of March, the stabbing of Julius Caesar, and right before St. Patty's Day. Well, it was for
Did your
your
dad ever
grandma.
yell at you when he was mad and say, why'd you have to go and hurt your mom's feelings by being born with a penis? You're a disgrace to this family. How dare you have a ding dong?
I
You're
know, right?
supposed to be
Parents'
a girl.
expectations shattered. I actually even know like they had my name picked out and everything. Like they were positive I was gonna be female. I was gonna be Leah Nicole Marima was gonna be my name if I was a lady. But alas, that huge schlong shattered all their expectations.
The nurse said, ah!
Actually, I think my dad was in the hospital when I was born, and I was like in the area where they, the infants stay, just to make sure everything's good. And I was just crying my eyes out. My dad was telling me that while he was with his dad walking down the hallway, they heard me. My dad goes, "Man, I hope that's not mine," because I was just
It
screaming up a storm. But it was me.
was Greg the whole time.
It was me all along. I fooled them. Good to know I can be a disgrace. Oh, says chaos. Yes. Let's see. But here's something that I thought was pretty funny over on Bounding in Comics. So Dragon Ball Superhero. Apparently, a staff reveal production team was unhappy with the decision to animate films solely using 3D CGI. Now, here's the thing. I saw Dragon Ball Superhero in theaters down here in old Texas. And the recap story that they did of Dragon Ball, like they do a quick Dragon Ball recap, or like a Dragon Ball universe recap sort of thing, Joe, in the movie. I'm pretty sure it was like hand animated. And I said right away when I saw that portion of the movie should have been the whole movie. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I think it's funny because I do not like the 3D CGI they used in this movie.
I tried to watch it, and that's actually what started turning me off. Like literally the minute the movie started.
You're honestly not missing me, and you're not missing anything. You're a tad bit biased, or oh my gosh, I can't even talk. The alcohol. I'm a tad bit biased. I don't like Super.
Super wasn't that good either. We just are look pasting it right now because Superhero was working.
Dude, they're okay. So they brought back oh my god, they brought back Frieza, and in this movie they brought back Cell. To me, that's just a cop out. At this point, if you're just going to reintroduce old villains, like there's no point to it. There's literally no point. And even though you brought in like Super and like the Gods of Destruction and all that, I think even then that was a bad idea. Because the minute you bring in a god who can take care of a problem lickety split, you have that like Beerus, and then you have what's his name, Zeno, who can literally destroy reality and stuff like that, and you befriend them, then no amount of threat is a problem because you can just coax the other people to take care of it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they would have been. This is probably an unpopular opinion, but you had built-in continuation lore with GT. Yeah, it wasn't the best, but it gave you room to work from. And I feel
agree.
like it probably would have reached a similar conclusion of everyone going God tier this and God tier that levels of Saiyan, but like the introduction of the God, like you said, like having these characters that literally no one can defeat no matter how hard they try, just being normal characters now is a little strange and a little odd. Like there's always been God tier characters, but they've had limitations, like we saw Kami get killed, we saw other guys get mowed down. It's like just because they were spiritual creatures did not make them undefeatable and super powerful.
Exactly. And I think that was part of the joke too, is that because Elder Kai said it best. He like gets down on Supreme Kai and stuff and going, how interesting that you have to resort to using Saiyans to help save the world when you should have the power to do it yourself. Like,
yeah,
that to me explains everything. And that's the joke, is that the Saiyans are ridiculously like powerful as a race to where they outperform supposed gods of the universe and stuff like that. But now you're getting rid of that joke by actually having gods that can technically be stronger then the Saiyan race, but then the Saiyan race can develop new forms. Honestly, they should have stopped with Goku. Like Goku's story is, as far as I'm concerned, is over. Even if you include GT, like they should have just moved on with someone
I'll
else.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. Chaos Smash says, I only liked Broly. This movie was good, but it had some issues. I liked Broly too. I still like the movie version of Broly. I like that sinister Broly. But yeah, it's good. GT needed polish, but I do like 17 was given a break in Super. I do too. I actually enjoy Super Android 17. GT, I agree with what you said. GT needed a lot of polishing. There was a lot of good concepts. Like actually Super Saiyan 4 is a good form that ultimately brought everything around. It was honing that Saiyan instinct, but utilizing it to its maximum capacity while adding all the other transformations on top of it. But yeah, you know, I've only watched all of GT once. I actually do need to revisit it at some point and kind of see it again. As hard as it will be, but you meant Dragon Ball Z Super Broly. No, I know what you meant. I still personally like the movie villain Broly. I think I like that aspect of Broly, but they're two different Brolys. So, but anyway, let's read this article. So the past decade has seen the executives at Toei Animation make a number of questionable business decisions regarding their properties. Look no further than their nightmarish treatment of Saint Seiya, and it seems like the company's resulting production woes have finally started to affect arguably their biggest franchise, Dragon Ball. Yeah, that. I'm sorry, but when you use a video game engine to make an entire movie, it honestly isn't good. There's literally better cutscenes, like pre-rendered cutscenes in video games that were better than this movie. And plus, I have my own thing about it. I enjoyed seeing Goku and or Gohan and Piccolo uh, be the main characters of the movie. That's good. Piccolo's transformation was cool. Gohan's was okay. I don't like the design. Um, I'm personally over the Sailor Moon esque pose characters. So Gamma 1 and 2 were just an eye roll for me. It was fine with the Ginyu Force. Great Sandman was cringe, but understandable why it was. But like Jocko and these guys, like I am so fucking over the stupid posing and shit like that. Gohan's hair is too long. Exactly. So where the trouble began or being caused by the franchise's reliance on 3D animation in its cinematic outings, as seen briefly during Gogeta and Broly's final fight in Dragon Ball Super Broly. Yep, because they used the video game engine. And throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball Superhero, was first noted by the film's producer Tomohiro Hayashida during a December 23rd with Shueisha Online. According to Hayashida, not only were the costs to produce Superhero in 3D so high that it would have actually been more cost efficient to animate everything in 2D. Oh my God. Why? Why didn't you just animate it in fucking 2D? Literally, that's what everybody wants. Dear Lord. Would have been the most awesome thing. Gamma 1 didn't do any posing though. 2 did that most. I've only seen the movie once. I'm telling you right now, I'm over the retarded posing. I'm done with it. Like I hate that character stereotype. It's so fucking annoying. Then during a February 24th panel held during the Japan Expo Sud 2023 in France, the animation director Chikashi Kabuta revealed that despite the animators being unionized and the company operating in the black, the company operating in the black. Things behind the scenes weren't perfectly tied up with the bright red ribbon. I wasn't defending it, I swear. No, I'm not getting down on you. I'm just over the fucking posing. Like, I am so done with that stupid shit. Like, it was funny a couple times, but like, I don't know. I don't find it funny. If they're using it to, to kind of, well, I mean, Sailor Moon, I never seen the series, but take it as you will. Like, that was kind of part of what Sailor Moon is. So it's understandable that that's kind of the transformation sort of thing. But just doing it, ugh, I get over it. Like I said, an eye roll for me. I'm like, ugh, let's go. Come on. Continuing, Kubota explained that one of his conditions for signing on Dragon Ball Superhero was that Toei Animation allowed for some 2D animated sequences to be featured in the movie, i.e. the recap, which in turn resulted in the beautiful remastered recap of relevant events from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z seen at the start of the film. I fucking called it. I called this the minute I saw this, that movie should have been done like that in the beginning. I fucking called it. Watching in Japanese was oddly satisfying. I saw it dubbed. But that's all right. I can separate the douchebags from their work. As per a live tweet of the panel provided by French Anime and Manga's news website, mangaanimation.net, Kubota first detailed how, like the Toei Animation staff members referenced by Hayashida, he also believed it was a shame that Superhero was completely 3D, particularly as he feels 2D illustration lends themselves more easily to creative expressive animation. So I retweeted this because someone brought this up too. Ryan, the editor, commented on it as well, and I agree. This whole idea of relying on 3D animation is starting to get pretty old. Because you'll hear that the best sort of things that work, specifically in anime and whatnot, is if like 95% of it is animated, 2D, hand-drawn. Because believe it or not, we love the little imperfections. We love it because not everything can be perfect, but damn, you get a bunch of people drawing frame by frame animation and it just looks so fucking beautiful. We'll take it. And then that remaining 10 or 5% of 3D should be used to just clean up shit.
Yeah.
Greg, yeah, I watched in dub, you unfortunate soul. My roommate and I, it was a time where it's like, yeah, you want to go see the movie? Yeah, let's go ahead and see it. So, because we're in Dallas, it's exclusive shit. So we probably saw it dubbed before a lot of other people did. So it's like, yeah, sure, we'll see it. Whatever. Yeah, Joe, I'm just reading this article, and it said when I first saw this movie, the recap, like it says a 2D animated sequence of the recap of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in the beginning of this film. Dude, the minute I saw that while watching it for the first time, I said the entire movie should have been made like that immediately. And lo and behold, people are saying, yeah, I wish we would have done it that way.
A lot of Dragon Ball, what made it special too, well, not just like, I'm just talking like Dragon Ball is an entire universe.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, the Dragon Ball universe.
Yeah, is that a lot of the cool power-ups, a lot of the cool fight scenes, so much of what made it cool came out of the animation and them trying to mimic what they saw Toriyama do in a manga format.
Mm-hmm.
And it made for really cool stuff, like just the way characters would disappear and reappear, but then you find out it's because they're moving so fast you can't even see them. They're like little blips, or like the power-ups. Like I remember the first time I saw Goku versus Vegeta in like the mid-90s, like that fight scene. where Goku goes for that one big Kamehameha, and you literally see all the pebbles and the rocks rising from the ground in the blast, and just it was beautiful and it was cool and it had a style all its own because someone had to animate energy coming from guys when they powered up or
I
find
love
ways
the
to make it
energy.
cool.
I love
Yeah.
the energy drawings.
And I feel like the new stuff, it's clear like they just took like some version of Blender or Clip Studio and just slapped a glowy thing around everyone that makes them look like they have like a magenta, like a fire glow at all. Like it just looks really generic. It's just not.
That's why.
It's
That's
lost some of
honestly
what made it
why I
special.
hate Super. I hate the character. I hate the style they picked. Like
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Z End of Majin Buu. That is it. You can see the style changes from the different character designers who were in charge of that point of the Dragon Ball series, from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball, like the early Dragon Ball, like at the end with Piccolo Jr., to Dragon Ball Z, the Saiyan saga, to Namek, to Cell, all that shit. It was fucking perfect. GT, I wish GT was done in the Majin Buu, like the character design style. I think if it was done that way, it may not have gotten a lot of hate like it does. Obviously, there was a lot of plot issues that could have been fixed up and stuff like that. But even GT had a lot of Akira Toriyama style. But the best way I describe it is like what you were talking about, Joe. Like when you look at the energy blast in Cell and even Majin Buu, and you look at it with, for example, GT, like they went back to make it simplistic and it looks terrible. Like energy beams with like lines showing how it's pulsating and stuff like that in GT, for example, and even in Super, looks just like fucking like cylinder, like straight shooting sort of stuff. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. It leaves a little to be desired. Like I felt like they had done
Mm-hmm.
better with the hand animation in GT than any
Yep.
past series in ways. Like it was
Uh,
more cleaned up in some spots, but I also realized in an effort to clean things up, we were already, like you said, we were losing some of what made Z as a
yep.
whole so special. And I mean, Z's almost like a perfect series. It's so long, you get so much content.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many cool fights. Like I honestly wouldn't. I did not blame Toriyama at all for just wanting to wrap it up there. I'm still kind of surprised he let him continue at GT. But when you got a cash cow like that, you know,
Yeah, I know, and that's a
who's
sad
to
thing
say
too.
no?
Super had so much potential of focusing on someone else, but they had to fucking stick with Goku again. Joe, you got a question. Who was the better villain, Turles or Goku Black? I have my answer right away.
Hmm. I honestly don't remember anything about Goku Black. What was
You
his
know what?
level of depravity? Was that the GT one where he had gone like so bananas in that Saiyan 4 version where
Nope.
he was, or did he literally like wear black? Because I feel like I remember seeing some
Nope.
images of that. I
Goku
don't.
Black is from Dragon Ball Super.
Okay, yeah. See, I didn't get through all of Super. I got through
You're not
a
missing a
very
whole lot.
small amount of it because I was instantly
Okay.
like bored and turned off by it. So apologies. I'll have to go back and get all the way through it.
That's understandable. The correct answer is Turles. I'll say that for you. I will speak for you.
Okay.
It's Turles. No. Goku Black is a character in Dragon Ball Super. So Future Trunks comes back, and there's a Supreme Kai. Uh, I think he's a Supreme Kai in training to become a Supreme Kai, but a Supreme Kai nonetheless called Zamasu. And Zamasu has a god complex in the sense of I'm a god, I'm perfect, I'm this, I'm looking down at these people, they're scum, they need to get exterminated, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like that sort of complex. Um so Future Trunks comes back again after solving all of his situations, and there's a Goku, an evil Goku attacking his future. Do you want to know spoilers at all? Do you care?
Yeah, you can go ahead. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, it's been a while. But Goku Black is Zamasu, who gathered the Ultra Dragon Balls that are in the universe that you can get together and wish. And he wishes himself to be in Goku, like have Goku's body, have his strength, have everything. And so he goes around exterminating, imperfect beings and stuff because he's a god and all that stuff. Beerus kills Zamasu in Goku's timeline, but Goku Black wears a ring that protects himself because once you're killed in one timeline, if a god kills you in one timeline, it erases every version of you in every timeline, sort of thing. But lo and behold, plot device, Goku Black has a ring that he can wear that prevents himself from being killed or disappear. And that's ultimately what it was, an evil version of Goku, but really Zamasu in Goku's body.
Man, even Turles, like, he was the dude from Tree of Might, correct?
Turles is from Tree of Might, and I love Turles because the purpose of creating Turles and his character design, the character creator of Turles, specifically stated that Turles is what Goku would be if he never hit his head as a kid. He would grow up being mean, ruthless, killer, everything. I love the concept of Turles 10 times more than I will ever love of Goku Black. Because Goku Black, to me, doesn't fucking make sense at all. He also has a form called Super Saiyan Rose. Yeah, whatever. But I love Turles because, one, he's literally the evil Goku, the original evil Goku. Two, Goku Black doesn't make sense to me because it's Zamasu stealing Goku's body. And where have we heard that from before? When Captain Ginyu stole Goku's body. And what did we learn from Captain Ginyu? Is Goku states you will never know how to fully use that body at all. You just stole it. You don't know how to use it to bring it up to its fullest potential. Yet Zamasu can because he's a god. To me, that's so fucking stupid and defeats the whole purpose of Captain Ginyu's body stealing technique.
The Ginyu Force was such a cool, like, little team of dudes. Like, there's certain characters, like, for example, like, when I first saw, like, Turles, I thought maybe he was, like, a creator's regret of killing Raditz so early. Like, that was just, like, maybe, like, just based off of look and design. Like, I see it more now, obviously, as he was the true, like, what Goku would have turned out to be. But,
oh, yeah, I love Turles. He's my favorite character.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. And I even remember, like, I was never a huge fan of the movies because they so rarely had, like, continuity or even continuity in things I was familiar with at the time, which went, like, Namek series, and that was it. Because there was just nothing else in America yet at the time, but short of bootlegs. But
yeah.
He
LimeWire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
oh,
good old days.
It was still, like, really good though. Like, I remember, like, feeling fond about it. Like, man, I wish this worked in to Z because it was such a good, like, even the fight sequences. Like, I feel like there was just like that you could see a lot of effort put into that movie, even though it wasn't like some big epic story like we're used to from the series. It just had that kind of quick bing bang boom feel that all the DBZ movies kind of have, where we're in a place, and bad guy shows up, we throw down, movie over. It's almost like a full DBZ series condensed into
literally
an hour and a half.
The Dragon Ball Z story. That's the story outline. You explained it to a T. That's exactly how it works. So good.
Dude, even the first Broly movie, like, I had all that on bootleg. I had the first Broly.
Oh, dude. Yeah, Broly was awesome.
Who was the one? What was the movie called? I can't remember it now. Like Goku's dead. He's hanging out with this green dude that's also dead. That I think they were fighting in like a tournament, maybe. And then
Icon.
somehow they end up fighting this baby thing that turns into this cool magenta dude that looks all scary. And like,
Oh, Fusion Reborn, Janemba.
yes, like that. I also had that on bootleg. Here's the thing: I had all these bootleg
Yeah.
DBZ VHS tapes, but they all had Chinese subtitles and
Oh
they were all
man.
in Japanese. So
So
like in like 1997, I was sitting there trying to just watch these tapes like guys I've met online would make and send to me for like, $15 a tape. Like it was super cheap. And
dude,
it was like
nice.
super shady too. Like I would just try to get money and I would just send it to them. And then like weeks later, a few VHS tapes would just come in the mail.
That's
It was all like
awesome.
honor system. But they would squeeze like all these DBZ movies I had no clue of. I had no clue what anyone was saying. It's where I
Oh
first
yeah.
saw fusions with Gohan and Trunks. It's where I first saw fusions with Vegeta and Goku. Because the best we had over here was like the beginnings of the Namek series, like if that. Like basically like we were getting up
Oh
to
yeah.
Vegeta
Dude, I
late
remember
97, 98.
yeah, I remember seeing like we got the really bad video game Dragon Ball Final Bout, and there was people in there who were like, "Where the hell did this come from?" It was like
Mm-hmm.
GT. It was like we had no idea where these people came from.
And
So
it was super
awesome.
cool. So it was like finding something like secret and interesting. Like I kind of miss the old days when stuff was harder to get a hold of because
I
it really did
know.
make it feel more special. Getting your hands on something was like, oh, I got to take care of this. This is like a precious gem from Japan.
I
You
know.
know,
Yeah, Chaos. Yeah, Turles may have low power level, but he wins in charisma status, evil charisma. Exactly. Exactly.
charisma.
Wrath of the Dragon is your favorite, but Goku stole the victory. Yep, true. Fusion Reborn is what you were talking about. Dude, I love the Bojack. Bojack Unbound.
Yeah,
That one was awesome too.
Bojack is badass too.
Plus, Akira Toriyama actually like helped out with the character design, so he kind of actually had input into it. But yeah, dude, look at this. Look at this picture right here. This is the 2D animated they did in the beginning to recap that stuff. Look how awesome that looks. Look how sharp
I'll
it
be
looks.
right. I'm sorry. I'll be right back again.
That's all right. We are past 2 hours, so we'll probably wrap it up here. So the animated director then admitted that because he had to animate the entire sequence himself, holy crap. However, I'm going to start from the beginning. However, after playfully noting that he had already told the aforementioned Hayashida that he should call him if Toei Animation ever gave the green light for the full-on Dragon Ball remake, the animated director then admitted that because he had to animate the entire sequence himself and check all the 3D animations one by one, the recap's inclusion led to him regularly cutting it close on his deadlines. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at this. Look at that. That has heart and soul. That has generic emptiness. Anyone could do this if they wanted to. Ultimately, Kubota asserted that thanks to the Toei Animation going all in on 3D animations, Superhero took a year and a half to produce, additionally noting that the first and last episode of One Punch Man's first season, on which he likewise serves as the series animation director, took a comparatively 6 months and 6 weeks to respectively produce. Oh, that's literally the end of the article. Well, that's abrupt ending. Well then, Toei Animation throws support behind incorrect belief that One Piece heroine Yamato is a transgender man. Oh God, whatever. Um, yeah, this anybody could do. Source filmmaker, Blender, what have you. Anybody can do this. You see this, and there's like heart and soul, and I'm sure other people put their efforts into it. Yeah. This idea of just relying on 3D animation throughout the like for all the stuff now is I personally think a step in the bad direction. That's why you see movies out there that still hold up to this day, like Terminator 2, where a lot of it was real life, choreograph, animatronics, puppeteering, squibs, all that stuff. A little bit of 3D animation to clean it up, just to make it fit. And now everything is garbage. Like what Lottie said. 3D animated blood is shit. It looks terrible. Oh my gosh, what's happening? What's going on? But I think we'll probably be wrapping up here once Joe gets back. If he has to keep stepping aside, we should let him go, sort of thing. Oh, oh man, that Peter Pan and Wendy's. Oh my gosh. See, they're not even hiding it. They're just literally race swapping everything. TV show based. Oh man, I pray and hope this happens. The Harry Potter spin-off games of Hogwarts Legacy. Oh, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Johnny Depp returning to the franchise. Hey, if they could save the Pirates of the Caribbean by having Depp return, I would almost want Depp to do it just so he can give middle fingers to everybody. I really hope so.
Yo, I'm sorry, dude. I'm having some issues with the children. I gotta hop out of here. But Greg, I will talk to you again soon.
Yeah,
Chat, I will talk.
I was actually gonna say, well, I finished the article, so we'll wind down the show because I had a feeling you have to probably step away. So we're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, good talking to everyone. I'm not trying to rush out, but I will see you all again here probably next week. I'm sure Greg will be nice and let me come and soil up his show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys. I'll talk to you again here soon, brother.
Yeah. See you, dude. Take care.
Yep.
Chaos Smash says, see ya, Nimrod's bald. Very rude. Yeah, we'll wrap up the show. I might actually hop over here since I got an invite to Blaine's show. So might hop in there for a little bit. So go check out Blaine's Blaine's Escape Corner. I knew it was corner. I couldn't remember the other word. Blaine's Escape Corner. But yeah, call that shit in the beginning. The entire superhero movie should have been done in the 2D animation. Apparently people who actually worked on the movie agreed with me. So hopefully they'll get enough power and momentum behind them to actually get that done. As you can see, Bounding the Comics, a lot of hilarious articles. So go ahead and check them out if you want. But yeah, we're dipping for tonight. That is a very big picture of me looking pixelated. But yeah, catch you guys later. I'm sure I'll be on sometime tomorrow. Again, because YouTube is being assholes, we'll be on Twitch and Rumble for gaming. Maybe even just Twitch, since technically I reenacted my Twitch affiliate. So if anything with the gaming stuff, follow me over there and let's get more people on there. That'll be fun. So thanks for hanging out, Chaos. Thanks for everyone. And until then, adios. Have a good night. Happy Friday. Peace.